Right. Thanks so much for that overview, Dr. Kincaid. We're really excited to have our two high school teams here to describe their programs, how they establish them, and the opportunities that they offer to students. I'd first like to welcome the team from Perry, Indiana to join us. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jody.
All right. Well, it's a privilege to be here today from Perry County, Indiana, at Perry Central High School. We're a very small rural school, and you can go ahead and advance to the next slide if you want. A very small rural school in southern Indiana. Some people may call it northern Kentucky, but it's really not. And so it's really an honor to be here and talk about the programs that have been developed over the last few years. So we are very small and rural. We encompass pre-K through 12th grade all under one roof. And we also even have a daycare. So we say that we raise them from babies all the way up until they're 18. And our daycare is for our faculty and staff mainly. And sometimes we have students in need of that as well. So we try to provide resources for all of our students and our people. We are the community center. If things are going to happen in our community, it's probably going to happen in our building at some place. We'll have the Cattlemen's Association meeting, or the Beekeeping Club, or the Farm Bureau might have their annual meeting in our cafeteria. So everything happens at Perry Central. Even though we are very small and very rural, we have a long history of believing in that all of our students need to have big opportunities. We've always had innovative approaches all the way back from in the 1980s when they started dual credits, before dual credits were cool. We were one of the first schools that had computers in our school system. And I kind of remember that because they were the Commodore 64, and we are the Perry Central Commodores, and I'm a graduate of Perry Central, and I always thought they made those computers for us. But we have just always been innovative in our approaches and want our students to have the very best. We have 360 students in grades 9 through 12, and over 25% of our students do not live in our school district. So people are coming, they drive into our school. One of the best things that have happened in the last few years is that we have been designated an early college high school. We took the idea of dual credits back in the 1980s and all the random acts of dual credit that were happening, and CEL and the Commission for Higher Education have helped us to be more intentional about the opportunities that we provide for students. So 30% of our students earn the Indiana College Core, which is their first year of high school, for free. 80% of our students earn 15 or more dual credits. Many of those aligned in a technical pathway with our CTE programs. And it's helping our students be more successful. We used to go to have a CTE program, a shared program, where our students would travel about 20 miles to get to that location. But the only students that could participate were the students that were not in maybe as many academic courses, or they had a vehicle. And we really wanted to open that opportunity to all of our students, because we believe that if you have students that have academic access and success plus technical skills, they're going to be very successful in life. And that's what we want for our students. You can go ahead to the next slide. So we do have 14 career pathways at Perry Central. Our goal with all of our career pathways are to align to an Ivy Tech credential or some type of industry certification. We also work really hard to develop relationships with business partners along each of those pathways. And you can see, I'm not going to read down through there, but I tried to list the certifications that students receive through that program. We've had to get very creative in developing these. I'm just going to mention the diesel program right now. Our students are earning the ASE certification, the Snap-on certification, and they're also earning the dual credits. they can earn their first year of the diesel tech program, the technical certificate through our high school. Our bus mechanic actually teaches that course. He has 3 periods a day where he is teaching the course, and the rest of the day, you know, he's our bus mechanic, and he does a fantastic job. We also have one of the largest bus fleets, probably in Indiana, just because of our rural location. And so his job is very busy. So we are hiring kids out of that program to help him so that we can balance the work. And it's been working great for the students and for our school. So we try to get very creative, and that's just one example of how we can pull together programs. We also utilize Project Lead the Way as a rural school, you know, finding individuals that want to teach, that have the background and the credentials to do that can be difficult. So a program like Project Lead the Way helps us to train our teachers appropriately. We, with our dual credit pathways, we're always looking for someone with a master's degree. So we had a lady that would come in and teach just business classes a few years ago because she had an MBA. And so we're constantly bringing people into the community, from the community, to help us achieve these things as well. But we are able to offer a lot of different programs for our students, and we do focus on those stackable credentials and experiences. You can go ahead to the next slide. So just a few examples, just specific examples of how that works. This is our pre-nursing certificate with Ivy Tech. The classes that are highlighted in yellow are courses that they can receive at Perry Central for free. And we've also added the HLHS, the dementia care as well. So they're earning 17 credit hours while they're at Perry Central towards this certification. The students are also, a couple of things about this. So the anatomy and physiology class is very difficult. Our students are going to our local Ivy Tech campus at night and taking that course one night a week. It's offered on Tuesday nights. We found that the course is very hard for high school students to be able to be successful, especially getting all the information in 5 hours, one night a week. So our students, they also enroll in an accompanying class while they're during the school day. And we've made a partnership with Ivy Tech where they've given us some of that curriculum so that our instructor, while they're not dual credit credentialed, can help support the students throughout the year. And we've been able to get many more students through the program that way, and very successful. These students will also earn their CNA certification. And so they can take this credential and they can move on to an Ivy Tech program in nursing or another college of that sort. Or we've got a partnership with Trilogy and our long-term care facilities, and they can step into the apprenticeship model with Trilogy with our pre-nursing program. Next slide, please. The state of Indiana also has state earn and learn opportunities, which basically is a pre-apprenticeship model. And because in order to be a state earn and learn, students have to have an embedded work-based learning opportunity that's paid. They have to have the opportunity to earn dual credits, and then also an industry certification. One of the stronger programs that we have is our advanced manufacturing program. We have a program called Commodore Manufacturing. It's a student-led manufacturing facility. So our students are vendors for local companies, and they produce product for them, and they get paid for that. They run the entire business during the school day. They're producing invoices. They're figuring out transportation and logistics. And it's just a great opportunity for them to learn and work at the same time. They do get paid by piece. They pile all that money together, and they have a system that they've developed based on attendance and based on work ethic. They've got a system, and that determines how much each student is paid each semester. We've had students earn anything from $600 to $3,000, depending on all those pieces. So it can be very lucrative, and the kids obviously really enjoy that part of the program. So they will take like the principles of advanced manufacturing their first year, and then advanced manufacturing 1, and then common or manufacturing RELs into advanced manufacturing 2. Along with this, we have been able to partner with Wapaka Foundry and develop a Department of Labor apprenticeship program. And so students can earn that national certification at the end of the program as well. If you want to go to the next slide, I can show you just a little bit about how that works. So down at the bottom, you can see that an apprenticeship for the Industrial Manufacturing Technician certificate needs 3,000 hours. 264 of those hours are in the classroom, and the rest are work hours. So they can start their 9th grade year. They really can't get into the true apprenticeship program until they're 16, but they can, they start the program early. They, by the time they graduate, they will have all 264 hours in the classroom, and they'll have some of those work hours. At the end of their senior year, they will work for Wapaka in the summer. That pay, they go from $10 an hour, because we also run common or manufacturing in the summer. So, and in the summer, it's $10 an hour. The pay jumps up to around $19 an hour in the summer, and they'll work and get those hours, and then they will then move into Wapaka into a job if things are going well. That will get them around $20 an hour. And if they work for 10 months there, so it's like their 5th year of school, they can earn that national certification. And so it's just a great training program for our students, and a way for Wapaka to really have the opportunity to talk to students and build relationships with them, and get the best employers that they can. You can go to the next slide. We also have the same types of programs. We're just now starting to work with the Carpenters Union, and we will have one for welding as well. But the same type of articulation and agreement with their programs. Students that follow the next level pathways, or our career pathway for construction, and meet the other requirements that are listed on this sheet, they can earn up to 6 months of apprenticeship credit. And so really it's just allowing those, it was mentioned earlier how CTE programs allow students to have an entry point, and then they can take the next step. It builds on these stackable credentials. And this will mean an advancement of money for students, so they have a better quality of life. And it also gives them a lot of purpose to their high school diploma and their experiences in high school, which is very valuable as well. Next slide. So these are I just wanted to share a few pictures. Obviously, embedded work-based learning opportunities. We are always striving to provide more and more opportunities for our students to have these. Common or manufacturing is really what got us started, and now we're trying to model all of our programs after that model. Right now, our construction students, again, we're very rural, so it's hard to go out to a home site and build a home. So they're building container cabins right now, and they're selling those. There'll be an auction of this container cabin when it's finished. The cool thing about the container cabin is that our engineering students are engineering the design, and then our construction students are using that engineering process to build this. And so it's a way for us to not only keep all of our education in silos, but start using different, letting the kids work together based on their strengths like they would in the real world. And so it's just a great opportunity for that. And then we mentioned a little bit earlier about the diesel program. We're hiring our diesel students. We're also doing the same thing with education. Just the idea that we need to build our own teachers to that pipeline as well. And so it's not only good for us, but it's good for our students. You can, next slide. All of our CTE programs, we just work really hard to think about what kind of authentic learning opportunities we can come up with. Workplace challenges is one where the company can provide us with a challenge, maybe something they're trying to fix at their company. They could come in and present that to us, and then we'll get teams of students around that to try to fix their problem. And then the students will present that back to those companies, and those are, the kids really enjoy that type of learning, and it's a way to really apply what they're learning in a real world sense. And we all know that that makes a big difference. We've talked a lot about embedded work-based learning. Internships, 60% of our students have an internship opportunity. We're, again, because of where we live, and we have great teachers that support this work, students will go to their internship 1 day a week. So Wednesdays is the day we picked. Teachers put their work online for students, and so they have like a hybrid model for their courses, and then they will go out and be in their internship for the full day. For example, I could give you a million examples, but I'll just use my son. He's a senior this year and he wants to get into aquatic sciences. We live right in the middle of the Hoosier National Forest, so he has an internship with the Hoosier National Forest, and it's been great. They give him with a different biologist every week, and he gets to experience that, and it's great for his resume. And now he knows that's what he wants to do. So our internships and those partnerships have been very valuable to us. We also try to participate, find competitions that bring authentic opportunities. Indiana has an entrepreneurship pitch contest. They call it Innovate with IN. And we've had students participate in that and come up with their own business ideas. And that's been very successful. We have the Harvard Prosthetic Hand Project, and that's the picture down at the bottom. There's some little mechanical prosthetics, and the idea is that they want to do research about how they can make the prosthetics for people a lot better. And so they've given this challenge to students. The thing that's really cool about this project is that we bring together teams. We'll have somebody from the computer science pathway be on the team, engineering, the biomedical, somebody that has the biomedical background. And so they're all working together to find solutions, and then they present that back to a panel as well. Next slide. And these are just a few pictures that we just try to expand and get out of our comfort zone and get our students out as much as possible. And I feel like a lot of schools do, but there's just a lot of opportunity. The picture down in the bottom, the bottom left corner there is our students actually standing with the Indiana governor at the autonomous car challenge. This was the Indianapolis, at the Indianapolis 500 Speedway, hosted the first ever autonomous car races. And so we brought our students to that. We're always trying to get them the opportunity to see different technology and know what's out there. And they had a great time at that event. The bottom picture on the right side, our students are going to the IoT lab here in Fishers, Indiana, which it's 3 hours from our school. But they've made the trip, and they're going up and they're learning about sensors that they can use in their prosthetic hands. And then another model that I think works really well is we have some in-school field trips. We had a gentleman come in and talk about CAD. We had new teachers that didn't have the CAD background that our students needed. And so we brought in an expert, and our teachers learned right along with the students. And it's just a really good way to skill up and get students interested, and another great way to use a business partner to help your students advance in their learning. So the next slide. This is just a list of our business partners, and this is not all of them, but just to give you a nice idea that we continue to, it doesn't matter if you're a small or a large organization, we try to tap into anyone that will pay attention and has interest in coming and helping pour into our students. Next slide. So part of what they wanted us to talk about were the benefits of CTE, and I thought probably the best way to show that is just talk about our students. This is Vivian Gailey, and she's on the panel today with us. This is kind of her resume. She has the pathway. She's completed the pathway of engineering. She has an additive manufacturing national certificate. We're one of the only schools in the country, I believe, that offers that certification, and she has earned that. She has an AutoCAD certification. She's participated in the entrepreneurship pitch contest. And I think with that experience, she's starting to see how her engineering skills can help make people's lives better. And she's getting a better sense for what engineering really is. She is earning her Indiana College Core, her first year of college, for free. And she's the student manager of our additive manufacturing center that we have in our school. It's it's small, but it's mighty. She prints parts for different businesses, and she takes care of all the invoicing and the communication with that company. She has reverse engineered a postal door from Jasper Engines. They had a problem, so this is a workplace challenge issue. They had an issue with a door, and she reverse engineered that, and she's going to be presenting that to Jasper Engines in a couple of weeks. And we have been able to find her a local investor. She started her own product line, and it's very secretive because she's trying to get a patent, so we can't talk a whole lot about it. But she's doing that, and those are real world experiences, and that's a great resume to have coming out as a 18-year-old out of high school. And I think you'll hear from her, and I feel like what she's going to tell you is that, you know, it's made her learning. Now she knows why she needs to learn what she's learning, and she has a good model for what she wants to do after high school. Next slide. This next student is a student that wasn't as academically, the academic part didn't come as easy, but she still utilized all the opportunities she had within our school. She completed the health sciences courses. She earned her CNA certification. She had an internship and a job placement her 12th grade year with Trilogy, and she got into the Trilogy apprenticeship program. And so she's going to attend, she's going to use the apprenticeship model to get her 2-year degree paid for nursing. And she graduated from us a couple of years ago. And so it's just a couple of great examples. And we could give you many, many more what our students are doing. And I think it's really changed their perception of education, and help them to figure out what they want to do after high school and be productive and have quality of life, and to be a part of our society. And the last slide is just the challenges, and I'm sure that all of us have the same challenges. We're always trying to find credentialed teachers, and trying to get creative about how we can do that. Space is a huge issue at Perry Central. We're running out of space, and so we're getting ready to add on to our school. So that's a good problem to have, and I'm happy that we have a solution to that. Workplace challenges and authentic opportunities. Sometimes we have great business partners, but sometimes it's hard to get some of them on board. It just takes a lot of time. But we've just kind of hung in there with those partners, and so we're just always continuing to look for opportunities. And I think that just being a rural community, just continuing to get our families to buy into the importance of education and those experiences. Because our goal is not to get the top 20% to do this, but we want every single student to have this opportunity. And so just continuing to drive that home. So that's a little bit about Perry Central. I'll turn it back to Dr. Bradley, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Yes, thank you so much, Jody, for sharing about your program and just the robust, amazing opportunities that you have provided for students. It's just remarkable. Really appreciate it. And we're super excited to talk to Vivian a little bit later.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much. Okay, so we're going to transition to highlighting a program in Minnesota, in Alexandria, Minnesota. So if I could have the Alexandria team come on camera. And we are very excited to hear about your program. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure. You can go to the next slide. A little bit. All right, that's our team that'll be talking today. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. And my name is Chad Duanard. I'm the high school principal. Dr. Kincaid earlier gave a great definition of CTE. And a little over 8 years ago, we just re-examined the programming that we were offering our students and really looked at CTE. And so over the last 8 years, we've been doing a lot of hard work to bring those opportunities for our students. So just like in the definition says, so they're that career readiness piece, and also that they have the skill set to do whatever they want to do as they move forward after graduating from Alexandria High School. You go next slide. So a little bit about our high school. We are in Alexandria, Minnesota. It's right in the middle of the state of Minnesota. We are a larger school district. We have a population of 15,000 people here. In the summertime, that grows to about 30,000 because we're in Lakes Country. So we have a lot of people that come in here in the summertime. Our high school, we have a larger population of just over 1,300 students in our high school. As you look up top here, the bottom school is the current school that we're in. We are in our 8th year in our new high school. The top school is where we had our programming. This isn't about the facility itself, but just taking a look at what we did as we moved to our high school, just to step back and re-examine how we program for our students. Just a little history when we were in the top building, we were in a traditional 6-period day. Over 4 years, students only had an opportunity for 9 electives. Our teachers did a great job, students did well, but yet we just, with the new high school, we stepped back and went through a process just to re-examine how we change programming for our students. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So how we did it. So you can go to the next slide too, and I'll start getting into it a little bit here. So what we did, and you don't need a new high school to do this. I think it just, at any time, you just can step back and go through a process of thinking about what you want students to do. So that's what we did. We did an extensive process, bringing in many different stakeholders, doing a lot of strategic planning, just around where we wanted to go in the future for our students. When we came out of this, as we moved into our new high school, and even if we didn't have a new high school, we would have came up with these same drivers. This is what we wanted to be. So we're about flexibility. That is, we have flexible furniture, spacing, scheduling for students. Collaboration was a big driver for us. We have soft furniture, a lot of different collaboration spaces for students, but also for teachers as well. And later on, we'll kind of get into our schedule, how we offer opportunities for our teachers to collaborate around CTE and elective courses. Small learning communities was important to us. We are a large high school in a rural area. So we wanted our students not to be one of 1,300 students, but we wanted our students to be one student out of about 300 students in a small learning community. So that was important to us. And then really why we're here today is the community partnerships. A lot of discussion about building partnerships with our community members, our business leaders, and it really comes around that authentic learning piece that really fits the CTE programming. Then as everyone else around the country, the technology, and of course, we're definitely in a relationship business. So those were our drivers as we looked into our programming for our high school. So you can go to the next slide. So just a little bit, we were asked just the time frame, and I think this is good for a lot of schools just to realize. Sorry about the is that it really takes time. I think a lot of schools think they just want to jump on it, they can do it to next fall, but it really takes time to get to where you want to be, and even then we're not there yet. So if you look in the middle there in 2014, that's when we opened up our new high school. That's where we changed a lot of our programming. But if you go prior to that, we took a couple of years to really do that research, do the strategic planning, come up with our drivers, and really start examining as to where we wanted to go with programming. 2013, you can see that we formed advisory boards, and that is the great partnership we have with our businesses. And a little bit here, we'll talk about our academy model and each of our small learning communities. But we have 4 advisory boards for each of our academies. Those advisory boards are made up of teachers and business partners and administration as well. And they work hand in hand to just, in essence, really talk about what students need, what skills they need, and how we can help better prepare our students for the future. Then in 2014, you can see we opened up our academy model, our programming. We changed our schedule to an 80 block schedule, which really allows for collaboration time. So like, for example, on A day, our teachers get to collaborate as a department. On B day, they get to collaborate as a small learning community around their academy model. And then 2015, we explored the CAPS programming, which comes out of Kansas City. That's Center for Advanced Professional Studies. We offered 3 CAPS classes that Claire will talk about in a bit here. And then we added a healthcare CAPS class in 2017. In 2018, we adopted the Portrait of a Graduate. Again, that reemphasizes all those other skills that we want students to have. And then the ongoing piece too, we just continue to look at building more partnerships with our business leaders and keep growing the programming we have for authentic experiences. Next slide. So in a nutshell, again, our building is 1,300 students. So these are our 4 academies. The Freshman Exploration Academy you see there on the left. That year with our freshmen, we really encourage them to explore different electives. We have expo. We have a career expo for our students so they can get exposed to a lot of different careers. Our counselors work really well with that academy, having students to do interest surveys. So really what we're trying to do is really get kids thinking about what is their passion, what do they love to do? Because in the end, we want them going into careers where they're going to be happy. So that is that piece. And then as they move into their sophomore year, they choose one of the 3 academies. So they choose those. We have a smaller group of teachers working in those academies. So even the core teachers, math, science, English, and social studies, work with the elective teachers in that academy. And then when I talked earlier on B-Day, all those teachers get collaboration time together to talk about students and the programming that we offer. Underneath, I'm not going to read them, but you'll see that all the different pathways that we offer in each academy. So those are there as well. Next slide, please. All right, I'm going to have Claire talk a little bit more specific about our program.
So how we look at the experiences overall that we want to offer to students is we approach them with a tiered approach. So on the bottom, you're going to see career exploration opportunities. And these are outside, mostly outside of classroom experiences. So the freshman year, you heard Chad mention, we do a career expo for all freshmen. 10th grade year, we focus on career field experiences. 11th grade, it's job shadowing and a college fair. And then in their 12th grade year, they have opportunities to take CAPS courses or to complete internships. And again, those are really heavy on the career exploration side of things. And then we move into what we consider our authentic learning experiences. And these are embedded throughout courses in all of the academies at all grade levels. And we consider our CAPS experiences to kind of be the pinnacle of those authentic learning experiences. And currently we have 4 CAPS experiences across the academies. So we have an EMT&R CAPS experience, a healthcare CAPS, an education CAPS, and a business CAPS. And we're looking to potentially develop more. We have a few that I would say are very comparable to CAPS experiences as well. So you want to go to the next slide? Besides our CAPS experiences, we also have a lot of authentic learning experiences embedded in other courses. I'm not going to go over all of these, but I'll highlight a few. So entertainment and sports marketing, for example, is an intro level course in our BCE Academy. So this is a course that 9th and 10th graders can take, and it really gives them an introductory glance at marketing. And the authentic learning piece comes in when students partner with local restaurants on a burger challenge. So those local restaurants are coming in, they're working with students on creating those burgers. Students develop a marketing plan for how they're going to market their burger. The local restaurants put them on the menu for 2 weeks. And then at the end of those 2 weeks, whatever burger was purchased the most is the winner, and it will continue to stay on the menu till the following year when they run the challenge again. And then also local restaurants donate $1 from every burger to a charitable organization that the students choose. We also have Cardinal Innovations. Cardinal Innovations in the upper right is, I heard Jody mention something about a school-run business that they have in Indiana. This is our school-run business. And so it's actually, the name of the business is called Cardinal Fab. And it is a business that centers around custom designed woods and metals projects. And this is our first year of running this course. And so we are still in the, I would say, beginning stages of figuring everything out. But there's a marketing department, there's office managers, there's project managers, there's metal workers, there's woodworkers. There's people who are on the transportation crew who are, driving around and picking up supplies and delivering items that are being made. And that class can actually be taken more than once. And so again, it's a junior senior course. So if you took it as a junior, you could take it again as a senior as well. And there are certifications associated with that course as well, such as OSHA 10 general industry certification. And then EMR on the bottom right, that would be an example from our HSHS Academy. That's a senior level course. Okay, I promise we're done with the bell for a little while. The Emergency Medical Responders course is a course for seniors, and that partners with North Ambulance here in our local community. And at the end of that course, students can test out and become certified emergency medical responders. If you go to the next screen. So in addition to that, we obviously have other authentic learning experiences that are happening throughout our academies and throughout our courses. I'm not going to read all of those to you, but this is a sample listing of other authentic learning experiences that we have. At our school, we offer over 80 CTE courses total. And so you can imagine that there's a lot of other experiences happening as well. I'm going to go to the next screen. So in addition to the courses that we offer, Chad mentioned that in 2018, we adopted our Portrait of a Graduate. And our Portrait of a Graduate provides an opportunity for us to have common language around skills that we want students to be working on while they're in high school. And these skills aren't, I mean, obviously there's other skills people could think of to put on this list, but we feel that these are skills that we hear a lot about, especially the 4 C's, which are communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And then we also have a skill for being self-directed as well as civically and globally engaged. And so we're intentional about these skills with our freshmen, specifically when they enter their high school careers. So we have fan coaches, we call them, Freshman Academy Network coaches. These are community members that come in, and each community member mentors a small group of about 5 to 6 students throughout the course of a semester. And so they're coming in about 6 to 7 different times, and their focus is on skill development. And so they're really talking with students about how these skills can be applied in authentic real life situations and how valuable they can be no matter what the student chooses to do after high school. Beyond that, we're also intentional about incorporating these skills into our advisory time, which is about twice a month, and all students 9-12 have an advisor. And so we do specific activities around these skills within that advisory time as well. And we really encourage students to be putting evidence of these skills into their digital portfolios, which they also create during advisory. And I think where we could probably learn to grow in this area a little bit more is by embedding these more within specific courses. You want to go to the next screen? This screen is just sharing a little bit about the importance of community partnerships to us. Chad shared that it's one of our drivers. And so when we look at the number of community partnership hours that we've been able to bring in once we made the change to our academy model, this is how many hours have been brought in or have come into our high school in the last 6 years. And there's a conversion that we use using a national conversion of, how much is each hour worth in monetary portions. And so, you look at that and it's worth over $500,000 to us, monetarily. But really the bottom statement I think is the most important. And that is, without these community partnerships, there's a lot of things that wouldn't be possible at our high school. And so to us, that makes them priceless. Next screen. And so speaking of those community partnerships, Geneva Capital is a capital equipment leasing company that we have here in town. They started in 2000. And I reached out to Mark Watkins, who's the CEO of the company, as well as Mike Tripp, who is the Director of Portfolio Services. And they provide mentorship for our business cap students throughout the year. And when I asked them to provide a quote around why they partner with our high school students and what advice they would give to other businesses who are considering doing the same, this is what they provided. And so I would encourage you to read that. I'm not going to read all of it to you. But at the bottom, I think one of the powerful statements they make is they say that it's our hope that we can continue this mentorship program because an investment in Alexandria's young people is an investment in the future of our community. And I think that's pretty powerful. And I think a lot of our community partners view their partnerships that way. And I think they have great sound advice that they offer on the right-hand side too, which is really to just reach out and start talking and start having conversations with individuals about what they teach and how they can help support it. So I'm going to turn it over now to Megan and Carrie, to our two academic counselors that are here, and they'll share a little bit with you.
So both Carrie and I have had the chance to be school counselors at our old high school and at our new high school. Our old high school is Jefferson High School, and the new high school, Alexandria Area HS. And I'm going to talk first about our academy selection process and how we have really specifically, we've seen a big difference in our seniors and the impact this academy selection has had on our seniors. At Jefferson High School, because, you know, thinking about your future can be overwhelming, it was easy for kids to put it on the back burner or to avoid the conversations. And then it became very real their senior year when they had to choose a career or apply to college. And, you know, we as school counselors saw that moment where kids had high levels of anxiety, not quite sure about what they wanted to do for their future. Here at Alexandria Area High School, during their 9th grade year, midway through, they go through a process to select an academy. And what we've seen is that it's almost like a safe level of anxiety that these kids feel and families feel that motivate them to think about their futures earlier. And so they work with advisors to talk about their passions, the courses that they've enjoyed. They dream about their futures. They bring in their parents, and we know, you know, especially if you have a high school age student, you know that kids don't naturally really want to talk about big things like their futures with parents. So this provides support and a structure for those conversations. And, you know, really, they choose an academy their freshman year and enter into the academy their sophomore years and enter that small learning community that Chad had talked about. And within that small learning community, they really have a chance to be concentrators or to look at a pathway, plan for a pathway, and select courses that support that pathway. One big thing about our academy selection process is that it also doesn't limit the kids. And so they choose an academy for the next 3 years, but they can also take courses in other academies. We've had kids that choose an academy and then pursue passion, like maybe an EMTNR academy, but pursue passions in the arts because they also like to have art as part of their high school experience. And so I really think this academy selection process has really helped prepare our seniors for that next step after high school, way better than what we did at our old high school. And I think that really, I can speak for both of us, but our seniors feel more prepared, they have less anxiety, and it's a fun conversation to have seniors and to look back at all the planning that we've been intentional about through their 4 years of high school.
I agree with Megan too. This is year 22 for me, so I had a lot more years in the old building than I did here in the former curriculum that we did. I definitely see kids feeling a lot more comfortable leaving the building, moving on to next steps. So that's a fun thing. It's not to say that we don't have kids leave here stressed, sometimes not knowing everything, but I think as a whole, a lot more kids feel more comfortable with what those next steps are. So Claire talked about our advisory program, and we have an advisory program grades 9 through 12. So when they come in as a 9th grader in that freshman exploration academy, they're in an advisory group that's with the freshman teacher who's part of that freshman exploration academy. These advisory groups are small, probably about 20 students, roughly in each academy. So our advisors have time to see these kids often. They may have them in class as well, but the way we have these students situated in the building too, they're between 2 floors in our high school. So they have an opportunity to see these kids often, even if it's not in advisory every single day. So that's part of that smaller learning community that Chad was talking about too. We work really hard to create smaller spaces for teachers to know staff and for staff to know students. So in that 9th grade, there's a lot of exploration focus, which is part of the academy name, the Freshman Exploration Academy. So a lot of focus is on just getting in and getting comfortable with the building, getting comfortable with the staff, so that relationship building. And they are starting to explore career opportunities. So doing a lot of inventories, we're starting that portfolio process and doing the basics with it. I think when you look at that scope and sequence, we've worked really hard over the last 6, 7, 8 years to really create this opportunity that goes with what kids are ready for. So as 9th graders, we're giving just a little bit at a time and helping them to really explore those opportunities and building on each year. So we use a program called Minnesota Career Information Systems, and students are able to use or do career inventories off of this, and then we can build on that. They may go back and do an inventory again as a junior or a senior, and it's fun for us to see if they line up or if they've had some new opportunities and experiences that have reshaped their thinking a little bit. So a lot of work on that scope and sequence and just that career readiness around our advisory program. So we also have senior leaders that come into those freshman advisory classes and share their experiences and opportunities, and sometimes things like if I would have known then what I know now kind of opportunities, trying to help kids just be ready for that next step, like when Megan talked about jumping into whatever academy they are going to be choosing in their sophomore year. So another thing that I'll speak for Megan and myself as school counselors, that we've worked really hard and developed further than what we had in our old building, is having an individual meeting with each senior within our academy. I think these are fabulous. I think sometimes these meetings are like, well, you don't need me, you've got it all figured out. We've got parents who are fully equipped and you've done everything. There's still really fun conversations to have about what the kids are doing. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you were really paying attention back then and that helped you get to this point. The other thing it does is it helps students come in and feel comfortable in that individual setting to maybe feel overwhelmed or completely lost about the process, and know that, you know what, we're gonna break this up and make it a smaller, just a smaller portion of what we do, and we're gonna meet again another 2 or 3 or maybe 4 or more times, just to really help that student feel comfortable with whatever those next steps are. I think a big piece for us too is knowing that not every student goes on to college or to 4-year college, and to really help and create those opportunities and listen to experiences and maybe give opportunity to even rethink a senior year. I just met with a student yesterday and she's like, okay, just kidding, I was all medical and now I'm not. So looking at second semester, let's change some classes. Let's see what other opportunities might help you. Had I not had those senior meetings, that opportunity may have been lost in the shuffle. So I'll let Megan wrap up on the senior meetings with what she's seeing.
Yeah, I agree with Carrie. It's a really special moment as a school counselor to reflect back on how much a student has grown throughout their experience within our academies. We go over the senior timelines with applying to college, financial aid, different apprenticeship or career opportunities for kids, and just make sure that they are ready to take that next step after high school. And like Carrie said, the meetings are highly individualized, so every meeting is different based on where the student is at. And we bring in parents if more support is needed. And it's just a really special moment to see the impact of our academy model on the students.
Next slide, please. So Sam, I think I saw maybe jump on. Sam Steidel is going to be the business partner that's joining us today. So he is a certified financial planner with Ameriprise. Anna is our alumni student who is going to be joining us. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well today, but I do have her responses. She provided me some written responses. And then we have Haley Kent here, and you can see Haley probably moving up to the front of the table here. Haley is a current senior with us in the class of 2022. And then we also have Eric Hartman, who just came into the room, and Eric is one of our business teachers here at the high school. If you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah. So that just kind of concludes our presentation here from Alexandria High School. We have many schools that reach out to us. So we have my contact there and Claire's contact as our academy coach. And we welcome anyone to contact us if they have more questions. We have had many school districts from around the country come and visit us and learn more about our academy model, and they're welcome to do so.